experts, and I'm your host, Shari Criso, and I am so excited to be here. This is an awesome, awesome place where it's a community, okay, that we have created. It's been almost a year now that we started the show, and every week we come to you with different topics on parenting, and sometimes it's very practical advice, and sometimes it's very emotional advice, and as we go through, we talk to each other, and I bring you different experts in all different categories, things that you may never hear anywhere else to help you have the most knowledge so you can make the best decisions and choices for your children, to have the healthiest babies and children possible, and that's really our mission. And my name is Shari Criso, and I'm a certified nurse midwife. I'm a board-certified lactation consultant. I was a registered nurse for many years. So tonight we have a great show for you, okay? Tonight we have a show. We actually put out a little, what was it, like a survey on Facebook to find out what you guys wanted to know the most about. And it was overwhelming that the response was you wanted to know more about sunscreens and sun protection and traveling with your baby. And of course, it makes sense. You know, the summer's coming and everybody wants to go out with their baby and figure out, you know, what am I supposed to be doing? And I can tell just from the questions that came in, I think there were 100+ questions. You guys are great, and don't be upset if I don't get to your question. Okay, we had to choose some of them. But over 100 questions that absolutely were fantastic that came in that we're going to be able to start answering some of them for you. It's all about traveling, sun care, sunscreens, what's safe, what's not, what to take on the plane when you're traveling long distance in a car, safety issues in a hotel room, and then also breastfeeding and feeding your baby in public. So all these things just came in as an overwhelming response to our survey. So I'm glad that we got the viewer's choice tonight, right? It was the viewer's choice tonight, so I hope you guys enjoy it, all right? Well, I'm going to introduce my co-host for the night, my very, very dear friend, my co-teacher, and my resident mommy expert, okay, Jennifer Marotta. She is here with us. A lot of you know Jennifer. Come on over, Jen. Hi, Jen.
Hi, everybody.
Yay, Jen. Let's give it up for Jen. Who knows Jen? Who took a class with Jen with me? Jen and I teach the diapering class here at the store, and her and I just, yay! Jen gets the applause tonight. There you is. You're just like walking encyclopedia. She's a walking encyclopedia of mom. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, like Mompedia. Okay, if there's just anyone that I'm like, I have a question about something, I'm not sure, I don't know, like, what are they out there, what are they looking at? I just call Jen. Jen's like, oh yeah, well this and that and this and that. I'm like, she knows everything.
I read a lot.
She
I read a lot.
That's an understatement.
I read a lot.
That is an understatement. So Jen is here with us tonight as our resident mommy expert, okay? Because really, that's really you are.
I read a lot.
You read a lot.
I remember.
And let me tell you something. Mom expert, probably better than any other expert there is.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, probably better than any other expert because, you know, it's like practical information. Right. Tell them a little bit about you and like how you have the credentials to be a mommy expert.
That's the easiest way to say that. I have 1 2-year-old and 2 1-year-olds. I breastfed
Did you
them
get that?
all.
1 2-year-old and 2 1-year-olds.
Yeah. Exactly. You can get pregnant with twins when you are breastfeeding. For sure.
Yeah, so watch it there, right? Yes.
Yeah, so that's my credentials. I breastfed them all for more than a year, and I made all their food, I cloth diapered them, I tried to do the best, and I researched everything that I didn't have a good answer to, so I read a lot. Yes,
you have read a lot, and you continue to read a lot.
Yes.
And Jen does a lot of the research for the show. She does a lot of the research for me, and, you know, it's just fantastic to have that that expertise in looking at everything that's out there, kind of bringing it all together. It's not just one company. It's not just like you represent a company. You don't represent any company. And that's really the most important thing for both of us is that it's a non-biased information that we're bringing to you. Even the sponsors that we have for the show are all handpicked. And I want you to know that everyone that
we go to them.
We go to them, exactly. So the sponsors that are here are who are supporting the show are all ones that I fully endorse and promote, and that's why they've been asked to be a sponsor. So anyway, so the topic tonight, like I told you, is all about how to go out, you know, out and about with your baby, traveling with your baby as the summer's coming. And I thought, you know, we had like a list of topics we're going to go over, but the questions were so good, and everybody's always complaining that I don't get to the questions. we're just going to do the questions and answers because you guys asked all the questions that we needed to answer, right? Okay, so first of all, we're going to start with sunscreens, okay? Because it seemed like that was like one of the biggest themes that kept coming up was, you know, about sunscreens, the dangers of sun exposure, but then also the flip side and the dangers of the sunscreens themselves. You know, it's like, what do you do? Do you use it or do you not use it? I have a question here that this question came in from. Let's see, what's her name? Her name is Sapna, and she's from New Jersey, and she says, Sapna says, I have a 2-month-old son, and I know that sunscreen is avoided until 6 months. I want to know if I can expose my son to direct sun or not.
Yeah.
2-month-old.
No, not direct sun. I mean, going in and out of the car from the store, okay, that's one thing, but you're not going to be sitting there cooking your kid in the direct sun. You know, indirect sunlight is going to be good for him. You know, a few minutes of direct sun going in and out of someplace, but no direct sun. It's too hot. He can't regulate his body temperature properly yet. You don't want to cook him.
No, definitely. You know, a 2-month-old does not belong in the direct sunlight in any climate. So being outside, fresh air, you know, sun hats and covers over and hoods over the strollers or the car seats, all perfectly fine. You don't want to overheat them or anything like that, but you definitely don't want to have direct sunlight on the baby. So very good question, though. And that brings up another question, which is, let's see, it was about when can you actually use sunscreens on your baby, okay? Because people ask about, you know, it says on all the sunscreens not to use it under 6 months of age.
Right, so. And that's not because there's something toxic in the sunscreen. In some sunscreens there may be, but that's not the reason they're suggesting that. A baby under 6 months of age should not be put in the sun. They don't have the same ability to regulate their body temperature that you and I do, and they really just should not be in direct sunlight. They should be covered up. They should be under umbrellas, you know, stroller covers, things like that. They don't belong in the direct sun. That's
right. That's right. And so let's talk a little bit about the sunscreens because, you know, there's different types of sunscreens on the market, and you need to be really, really careful when you're putting the sunscreens with all those chemicals on your baby. So what should we be looking for when it comes to a sunscreen?
Well, you know, first you want to look and make sure that there's nothing in that sunscreen you wouldn't put on yourself. And second, you want to try to find something that has the least amount of chemicals in it. There are a lot of sunscreens out there that are available to you. We have one here that we like that gets a very low rating from Environmental Working Group, so that's good. A low rating from them is great. It's Essentials. They have a nice sunscreen. California Baby makes one as well. I personally like to have my kids have their hands and faces kind of exposed for at least 10 minutes a day to get their D.
Hold on for 1 second. What Jennifer's referring to is the way that your baby's going to get vitamin D is from exposure to sunlight. And so that only takes about 10 minutes of exposure.
With hands and face.
Just hands and face. So, you know, just a little bit of sunlight to their hands and face is going to give them all the vitamin D that they need. And then they really, during the summer months, do not need vitamin D supplementation as long as you're giving them a little bit of sunlight each day.
Exactly. So you want to look for things that have titanium dioxide in them, which is one of the safer sunscreens. You know, obviously the safest thing would be no sunscreen, but the sun is dangerous and you don't want your baby to get a burn because that really hurts. So, you know, you have to walk the line between getting some sun and not too much sun. So sunscreen is a good way to keep you on the safe side of being burned.
Let me explain something too that I think sometimes can be like a real myth or misinformation, you know, what do I want to say?
Misinformation.
Yeah, misinformation is that, you know, you're not looking for the highest SPF either. So people think, oh, the higher
85 is great.
Yeah, like 85, 50, like all these high SPFs, they think that's going to be better for their baby, and when in fact it's actually worse.
No, it is. Absolutely.
And can you explain a little bit about the differences in the SPF?
Well, first of all, if you go up in a higher SPF, you're going to get the false sense of security that you're, you know, under, you know, cover of super sun protection, and you're not. It still wears off. Whether you have SPF 8 or 80, it's still going to wear off with sweat, swimming, toweling, all of that stuff.
It doesn't work anyway.
It doesn't work anyway. It's not going to protect you any more than something that's going to protect you a little bit less. You know, our rates of using sunscreen are the highest they've ever been. So are our skin cancer rates. So, you know, you've got to think that maybe that's not helping us avoid skin cancer.
And maybe there's some contributing factors to smearing all the chemicals on our skin and then wondering why our rates of skin cancer are through the roof. The higher the SPF does not make it stronger. It just, what it's supposed to mean is that you can stay out longer without reapplying. But as Jen just mentioned, it's not true anyway. And all you're doing is putting more chemicals on the baby. So you want to stick with something with a 30 or less. Would you say
Yes,
that's
exactly.
that's probably the right numbers to stick with under, and then reapply more frequently?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
As you towel or swim and things like that. And also, you know, little children, especially young ones, they really shouldn't be out in the sun for that long anyway, that you're constantly having to reapply. They've got a lot of sun protective clothing, hats, sunglasses, because you need to protect their eyes, even if you're putting sunscreen on them.
Oh, that's such a great point.
You
Yeah,
know,
they
their
make little
eyes.
baby sunglasses.
Yes, they do. They make ones. Look for ones that don't have hinges, because they pinch their fingers in them and they can break, you know, the earpieces off. So look for ones without hinges.
Like the rubbery kind.
Yeah, they can go upside down or right side up.
Because you know they'll do that,
they
right?
Do that. It's a kid thing.
I do that sometimes too, but you know. But you know, the other thing too is there's also the size of the molecule within the sunscreen,
exactly.
right? So what are we looking for?
Well, there's something called microionized, which is where they pulverize the little ions in the titanium dioxide, and that makes it smaller, smoother. The problem with it is it also can fit through your skin cells, and baby skin is actually more loosely woven than adult skin, so it can go through the baby skin a little easier than it can ours. So you have to be careful with that. You don't want to get something with molecules that are too small. The Epicentials and the California babies, there's also Badger that makes another one that doesn't have these teeny tiny little
would it
molecules.
say it on the pack? Would it say it on the?
It doesn't always. You're going to want to go to Environmental Working Group or Soft Landing or someplace like that and see, you know, exactly what they say about it. Sometimes it does, but they're not really required to, reveal all of that information. And if they are required, it certainly isn't enforced, because I don't see it on all of them.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of this stuff is not regulated.
No, it's really not.
Yeah. So, okay. So the takeaway from this is stick with the lower SPF. Don't put your baby in direct sunlight for long periods of time. Don't smear anything on your baby's skin if they're less than 6 months of age. Use hats.
Exactly.
Use clothing to
I
cover
just saw
them up.
somebody write down, and this is true, people put the sunscreen on when they're already out in the sun. That's no good. You got to put it on.
It takes time to.
It takes time to work.
Yeah, like about, would you say
half an hour?
Half an hour. Okay, that's a really good point. So putting the sunscreen on a half an hour before you actually go out is going to be key.
Exactly.
Yeah, because then you're really not protected anyway. Okay, and we also covered the vitamin D too. So you guys, good questions here.
Yeah.
There were some other questions that came in regarding bug repellent, because all those little nasties that are out in the summer. Okay, so here was a question from, let's see, Anne Marie in New Jersey. Hi, Anne Marie. Okay, Anne Marie says, what is the best bug repellent for traveling to a tropical climate? I plan to travel to Brazil this summer.
Wow.
And with my baby will be 4 months old. I want to protect her without chemicals.
That is tough.
Yeah.
They have some voracious bugs in Brazil. I have traveled to some tropical and subtropical climates, and some of the best bug repellents that will repel those bugs are things that you do not want to put on your baby.
Oh,
Joey.
Joe.
Are we doing the tropical climate dance here?
He's lost his mind, folks. He has lost his mind, folks, tonight. Just scared the hell out of me. I just jumped out of my seat.
Okay.
We're going to Brazil.
We're going to Brazil.
We're not in Rio. Stop it. We're not in Rio. Some of the best, bug repellents are not. This is serious stuff. There are some nasty bugs down there.
Among G-strings or whatever else came up in that video.
Okay.
Oh my God. Okay. So anyway, there are some bad bugs down there, and some of the best bug sprays that are going to keep you safe from those bugs are not things that you're going to want to put on your baby. So you're going to need mosquito netting. Your best line of defense is going to be like protective clothing and things like that. There are some natural and safe bug sprays, but I don't know if they're going to work against certain parasite type of bugs that you're specifically going to be trying to avoid in the tropical and subtropical climates. So stop fighting. So, what I would do personally is try to use a mixture of the safe bug sprays. Like there's one by Me Essence that's got natural essential oils in it, and if you find that that's not working, you could use one of the stronger sprays, but put it on a hat, put it on their shoes.
That's such a good point.
Don't put it on their skin.
Or their clothing even,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Things that they're not going to put in their mouth, don't put it on their hands.
Yes.
Don't put anything on their hands, really, because they're going to put them in their mouth. So things like that, be careful with. But hats, you could even spray the back of the stroller with something. But really, just be very careful.
That's a really good point, because you can spray some of this stuff on their clothing or the places they're sitting, in their stroller, in their car seat, which would be a lot better than actually spraying it on their skin. And then the whole idea of getting like some kind of a stroller net.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
A lot of the
Stroller
nice
net.
strollers that are out there make bug nets
Yes,
for that particular
exactly.
reason, to protect the baby so you don't have to keep spraying it onto your baby.
Right.
All right, awesome, great questions here. And I know that California Baby also makes a
Sunscreen with citronella.
yeah,
in
it's a
it.
sunscreen, and it also has the citronella, so you
Yeah,
can do
it
both
smells good.
all in one
Yeah.
shot. Talk about a little bit about flying with your baby. Okay,
Oh,
we
flying
got a
with the
question that
baby.
came in. Here's one of the questions. The question came in from this is from Japan. This is Ashley in Japan. Ashley's coming home from
Hi.
Japan.
Woo!
Okay,
Welcome back.
and Ashley says that this is the highlight of her week. We love seeing you coming in from Japan, and now we know you're coming home. She says that she's coming back, and do we have any advice for long plane rides? Are there any tricks to cloth diapering on a plane? Are there any restrictions? She's breastfeeding her youngest, and are there any restrictions to breastfeeding on a plane or in the airport? She hasn't been on a plane for 3 years, and it's going to be a little nuts with 3 kids.
Yes, I can believe
any
that.
advice would be awesome. So, what do you think?
Okay, well, where to start with? Breastfeeding on the plane. You are going to want to check with wherever the flight is originating from. Like, so if it's an American flight that's taking off from Japan, you're going to be fine. In certain parts of the world, it may not be acceptable for you to breastfeed on the airplane. And you would need to check with the carrier. But if it is a U.S. carrier transporting you from Japan to the United States, you're fine. You're under U.S. laws, and your rights to breastfeed are completely protected. But, you know, you do have to follow the laws of other countries and be respectful of their laws.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, and then also the whole idea of just being on the plane with the baby.
Yes.
Yeah. Any tips for keeping a child, you know, occupied on a plane?
Yes,
you know?
I have been on many planes with many of my children.
Jen flies a lot with her children.
Yes. The longest trip we've made is to France. So, you know, not as long as Japan, but long enough. The best advice that I have is try to fly at night if you're making a long haul flight. Because you can put your baby to sleep, get them their own seat, put them to sleep, get a sound machine, bring it on the plane, knock them out. I mean, not literally, but, you know, rock them to sleep, put them down in there. The noise of the plane will help them go to sleep. That's fantastic. Bring a lot of games.
Yes.
A lot of toys. More food than you think that you'll need, because they will knock over the bowl of whatever you had for them and spill it. Also, a change of top for you and a change of clothes for their baby. As far as cloth diapering on the airplane, you can totally do that for such a long flight and with so many children. I think that the Grovia would be a really good option for you, because that way you can be disposing of the insert of the diaper instead of carrying all those diapers back home with you. Just, it's a lot of kids to have on the plane and a lot of stuff to have to remember.
Grovia is the sponsor tonight, and I'll talk for a minute about what we're talking about. Grovia makes like a shell. Joe, you have one? Yeah, grab one there. Go grab the Grovia. Grovia makes a shell. It's a cloth shell that's fantastic, and then what you put inside of it is called a biosoaker, and the biosoaker inserts are actually disposable, so that if you are cloth diapering, it's the great hybrid alternative.
Yeah.
And then the soakers are so small that you can carry so many of them with you. Here, Joe's got them for us right here. Okay, so this right here.
Big packs.
Yeah. So this is, I got one right here.
Just how small it is.
Yeah, this is a soaker right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so this right here is the Grovia shell, okay? And then this is one of the soakers that actually goes inside of it. Okay, so this is a great way to travel. Jen's going to show you how
actually
small it is.
50. It's opened. I tore it open. This has 50 soakers inside of it, so you can see if you had 50 diapers in here, it would take up a lot more room in your suitcase. We actually went for a week on a boat with these with 3 kids, and it worked out really, really well.
Yeah, not just one pack.
No. No.
She does change her children.
That'd be nice.
Several packs.
Yes.
But it's a fantastic way to continue with something that does not have the harmful chemicals in it, to not go right to a pamper and you know, put all those chemicals right on the baby just because you're traveling. It's our best suggestion for even whether you're vacationing and you're not going to be able to do laundry, or even when you're just on the go and you don't want to take your cloth diapers with you.
What's great about these is if you have 2 different children, or 3 in my case, in more than one size of diaper, this is going to suit your needs, because you can change the snaps to have for your little guy and then change the snaps for your big kid. So.
It's one of the best products we have. I mean, we've gotten a great response from it.
They absorb breast milk poop like none of the other
it actually holds it in.
The hybrid systems, the other ones do not absorb the breast milk poop the same way.
Nothing like that. Nothing like Grovia, honestly. Okay, we got a question that came in from Candace in Michigan.
Okay.
Candace says her and her husband are going camping in August.
Okay.
And how safe will it be for for their 5-month-old to swim in the lake water. Okay, she didn't want to. She doesn't want to expose her to bad bacteria and parasites that will make her sick. She may be over paranoid, but she's just not sure.
No,
you're not being
No,
paranoid.
there's a lot of stuff, like even if you're just dipping her hands and feet in there, there's giardia, which is beaver fever that can be in lakes and streams and things like that, and you do not want a small baby getting that. But besides that, most doctors do not recommend children having their heads submerged in water before the age of 1 because it can cause ear infections, and especially if the water is dirty or bacteria-y or things like that. You don't want that to happen. I would be nervous with lake water because, you know, you don't know what animal has been in there and what they have, that you know, if the baby even puts their hands in it, puts their hands in their mouth, that can be a little,
you know,
frightening.
like a big gulp of lake water.
Yeah,
not
good.
No,
not good. Be careful.
So I'd be a little careful with that. And then the
Yeah.
second, she has two parts to her question. The other part of the question I'll answer. She said, "What's the best way to keep a nursing baby hydrated during the hot summer months? Is nursing more the best way?" And the answer is yes, absolutely. Babies do not need anything, even in the summer, other than breast milk. Breast milk is like 98% water, okay? And so your baby will be completely hydrated just from breastfeeding. The baby does not require any extra fluids, and sometimes just requires nursing more to stay hydrated,
Yes,
okay?
exactly.
So yes, your answer, you answered your own question, and it was the right answer. Just keep on breastfeeding, and your baby will be completely hydrated. Okay. Let's see here. What else do we have? Let's talk a little bit about what could we bring with us if we were to be traveling with a baby. Okay. You know, like, because we've been, Jen's been on the road with her children.
Yeah.
And I know it's been a little while. My kids are 7 and 9, but I remember traveling with my kids. And by the way, we had the best vacation we ever had. Vacation. We still called it vacation back then. We stopped calling it vacation. When the last vacation I had with the kids was when Jade was 4 months old. That's my oldest one, and she was still in her little car seat, and you know, sucking away on her passy, and I was breastfeeding. We didn't have to bring much with us, and we really had a vacation. And then we tried that same vacation when she was around 18 months old, and we stopped calling it vacation at that point. It became traveling, a family trip.
Yeah.
And then there was no more disappointment. If we stopped calling it vacation, we weren't disappointed anymore. So I highly recommend to all of you, and I do this with my local clients all the time, that if you are considering a vacation and you have a baby, I would highly recommend it. I think it was one of the best trips we ever took. Somewhere where they're around like 4 or 5 months old. It is just so much fun. You'll really, really enjoy the baby, and just never the same after that. Once they start running around, right?
Crawling, it gets tough.
Yeah, it gets really hard.
Safety
So do it when they're little, exactly. But some of the things that you want to consider when you're out traveling with the baby that you want to make sure that you bring with you. One of the things on my list was some kind of a carrier or a sling. I actually did this with Lucky. Forget the baby. I had the dog in a sling when we went to Colorado to shoot the video, walking through the airport with Lucky in a carrier, and people were really looking at me like, "Is that a dog?" I'm like, "It's my baby. Excuse me. It's my fur baby."
Yes.
Licky the fur baby. Okay, but yeah, carrying the baby in a sling. Sometimes they want to be held, and sometimes the stroller can make for a really great place to put all your stuff. While you carry your baby.
So international airports, by the way, do not have elevators and whatnot like we do here in Charles de Gaulle. My husband was literally dragging a stroller up the stairs while I had our daughter on my back in a baby carrier, because if we didn't have that, we would not have been able to get her up the stairs. It would have been a nightmare.
Yeah, so we're big advocates of carriers anyway, but especially when you're vacationing or you're out on the go. Okay, this is a question from Ladina. I hope I'm saying your name right, Ladina, from Canada. And Ladina wanted to know, what is the best umbrella stroller to travel with? Do you suggest getting an umbrella stroller bag or not bother? The best, so far, from what I've seen, the best umbrella stroller, and this is not just because they're sponsors of the show, I love this umbrella stroller, is the Britex Be Nimble. It's fantastic. And if you have the chaperone, which is the infant car seat that goes with it, it actually it snaps into this umbrella stroller. With no adapter, which is great, because instead of going and spending your money on some kind of a snap and go, I think this is really the best money you could spend, is getting the chaperone car seat as your infant car seat with the Be Nimble as your snap and go to begin
Yeah.
with, because that Be Nimble is going to last your child till they're 4 or 5 years old. And let me tell you, we still use an umbrella stroller with Talia. Talia, you hear me, sweetheart. She's 7, and there are times where we're getting off a plane and she's sleeping and we can't carry her, and we need some kind of a stroller to bring with us. So, you know, make sure that you bring something lightweight, something that's going to be easy to maneuver with, and then you do want to be able to have something that you could bring to the plane.
Right.
One thing to consider, and I talk about this a lot in the store, is if you're looking for a double stroller, remember that you cannot bring the double strollers through security. Is that right?
You can. They just wand them down, and it takes a lot longer. They have to take them apart individually.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's
going
to be a lot easier if you have something that's sort of front to back, versus the double wide strollers.
If you're traveling with 2 adults, I would get 2 Be Nimbles, and just you can snap them together, because it will be easier on you. And like I said, again, in foreign countries, they do not have the wide doors that we have here at all, and a lot of people are very surprised by that. So you're better off with 2 where you can separate, divide, and conquer.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And then also your car seats, okay? You know, the other thing is to travel with your car seat. Somebody was asking about actually going on the plane with their car seat. Would that be a good idea to actually go on the plane with the car seat? The answer is yes. Let's see, where does it say? Cannot find it. But anyway, she was asking about traveling with your car seat. If you can afford to get a seat for your child, then I would recommend putting the car seat down and letting them sit in the car seat. And even if you cannot, I would still bring the car seat and put it in the overhead. Right.
Or give it to them when you get on the plane, when you actually get onto the plane, and not, you know, before the plane, but when you actually get on the plane.
In other words, don't check your car seat. Don't check your car seat with your luggage, okay? The main reason for this is that you never know when you may lose your luggage, and then you cannot leave the airport. And I've said this to people several times over and over the years, and I've had many people who come back and say, thank God you told me that. That actually happened to us. Or the plane got delayed or canceled, and we couldn't get our luggage, but luckily I had my car seat so we could take a cab.
Well, you know, the thing is, I see somebody saying it's not any safer in a plane. My whole family is in aviation. My cousins are pilots. My father's a pilot. And they were always adamant that we have our children in a car seat or an FAA safety harness on the airplane. Because if you hit turbulence suddenly and you're not paying 100% attention, your baby will hit the overhead baggage compartment. So you better be like this all the time, or having them in a harness that straps into your waist seat, because they will get out of your arms very quickly if you hit a pocket of turbulence that the pilot has no knowledge of before they hit it. So it's important.
Yeah. Be careful the questions you're asking Jen, because Jen will always have the answer for it. and she will be involved in the industry in some way to let you know the exact information. So that now do you see why she's my resource?
It can be dangerous.
Yes. So and
somebody else says their husband's a pilot. See, he knows. You hit the bump, the plane goes like this.
That's right. Okay, good.
There is somebody's asking about the air harnesses. There's FAA approved air harnesses. You can Google them. They're not that expensive. You can use them up to like Jade and Talia could still use them. Shari's children, they're 7 and 9. And it just makes that lap belt a little bit safer and keeps the baby tethered in. Because also, if you've got a mobile child, they can wriggle out of that lap belt really easily. So this is more like something that's going to go over their shoulders and keep them safe if the plane bumps.
Yes.
That's what it's for.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then also, I know that you've used portable beds.
Yes. We use like pop-up tents, basically, is what they are, because they fold down small. We can fit 3 into one regular smallish size suitcase plus other stuff for the children. And then we are not dependent on hotel beds. I know that there was a story on the news a couple years ago that said that most cribs in the hotels do not meet current safety standards. And also, you know, when I'm traveling with 3 kids, most hotels don't have 3, cribs to give to us. These pop-up tents are fantastic. They can fit up to age 6, and they inflate really easily, pop up easily, and we love them.
No, that's great. Totally great. And I know that they actually fit into your suitcase, right?
Yes, they fit into our suitcase.
You want to pack small, right? Somebody else had a question about how to pack, right? About packing.
Yeah, suggestions
for packing. Why can't I find anything today? Here we go. Okay, packing. So this came from Susan in Canada, and she said, what are some easy ideas for packing?
Yes.
Well, see, I'm answering your questions. We're going by your questions tonight, everybody.
What I've done in the past has been 2 things: either packing cubes, where you can pack things by child or outfit type, or
say that
pajamas.
Slower so they understand.
Packing cubes.
Packing cubes.
They're like these packs of 3 that you can get, and they're, you know, they come in a big one, a medium one, and a small one, and they zip around, and you basically can kind of store all this stuff, so you can take out all the pajamas, all the diapers, all this in one kind of bunch. The other thing that I've done is put each outfit in a Ziploc bag for each day, so that way I can just take Monday, Tuesday, and not have to mess up. Because baby clothes, that's the problem. You, like, take one thing out of the middle of the pile, and you just ruin the whole pile in the suitcase.
No. We don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. No.
We actually do that constantly. Our suitcases look like
no,
a bomb went off. Yeah.
Somebody's asking space bags. No, eBags has them. They're packing cubes. You can get them at a Container Store, things like that. You know, they're fantastic.
So great. Okay, awesome. Well, I'm going to use them.
You should.
I'm going to go find them for my own stuff.
Yeah, they keep things from getting wrinkled.
Definitely. I just want to talk about one question that came in, and I'm going to address this question right here. Where is it? Let's see. The question was the driving, right?
The breastfeeding.
Yeah. Well, somebody was asking about, like, taking your what's it like about, like, what to do on a long ride, a 10-hour ride, right? Yeah. And Jen and I, the first thing we said is, first of all, never take your baby out of the car seat. And
people do it. I know people who have done it.
You know, yeah, don't do that. I mean, it's a really dangerous thing to do. And it sounds like we're being like, well, who would ever do that?
People do.
And people actually do it when they're on long rides, you know. And we were laughing, and I said, you know, there were long rides that we went on where I would actually unbuckle my seatbelt and then lean over the car seat and breastfeed. We've all done it. How many people have actually done that before? Wendy's raising her hand too. Who's ever leaned over a car seat while they were not while they were driving themselves, but while the car was in motion?
You're in the back seat,
feeding your baby that way. Yes. Okay. Yes. They've done it. Yes. They've all done that. It's one of those things.
Taylor's like, really? You women.
Taylor's learning like a whole new thing here. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then somebody else asked about the whole fact that her 7-month-old, okay, this is from Libby in Tennessee. She says her 7-month-old hates to be covered, so I can nurse in public. He won't stay focused and pulls the wrap off. Do I have any suggestions? Well, I mean, my first thought and suggestion was forget the cover. You know, get used to just breastfeeding. You know, you can still be discreet without some big cape over the baby. And so, you know, try doing without it. See how that goes for you. And then Jen, you had a suggestion of getting some kind of like a
like a nursing necklace they have that, you know, have fun things to play with on it, and only put it on when you're nursing, just to prevent him or her from popping off and, you know, you spraying the world, which has happened to me.
Yeah, they don't like to be covered up, and who can blame them?
No,
you know, and especially in the summer, it's hot. I mean, to put one of those big drapes over them, you know, I think that getting a good nursing top that's discreet, easy to use, like maybe one of the Bravado tanks that's easy to open, that's really great. And even if you put you open the tank and put a little towel or something over yourself. Your breast is covered mainly by the baby. So I think covering up the baby, if he's not liking it, don't do it, and just feed anyway.
And think of the message you're sending to other women. Like,
absolutely.
I'm a normal person. This is okay. You're okay if you do this too.
That's right. It makes everybody feel more comfortable with the whole idea of nursing in public, which I'm a big advocate. I used to do it everywhere, just so people could see this is fine. You know, this is totally fine. And we talk about this so much on the show about feeling better about it, about feeling more comfortable with the whole concept of breastfeeding, about teaching our children to grow up into a new culture, a new conversation.
Exactly.
And that we need to start that conversation by changing our behaviors so that it becomes the cultural norm. And that's, I think, part of the problem here. You go to Europe, they don't think about it at all.
No.
We had a European couple in the class this week, in our breastfeeding class, and he was like, I don't know what the big deal is. I didn't realize, like, this was such an issue. In Europe, we have topless beaches, and breastfeeding is like nothing, you know. But here, somehow, it's totally okay to have these
nudie models.
These music videos where they're down on the floor, you know, and yet. Jennifer, we're gonna switch seats now, okay? And we're gonna bring Wendy on. Yay! Let's bring Wendy. Everybody, say hello to Wendy. Hi, Wendy. Oh, I'm so happy you're here. Okay, so Wendy's new to the show, okay? But she is definitely not new to the birth boutique.
No. Like 7 years and counting.
Since we started. And I said, you know, today I said to her, you know, I knew we were going to do something together. I just didn't know what it was going to be. And now I know. And who could have ever guessed, right?
Never.
But, you know, Wendy is just such an inspiration in what she has created. I want you to take a moment and explain to everybody the product that you created from the needs that you had, right?
Right. Well, I hadn't thought of it until our second daughter was born and we started traveling with her.
Yes.
Because when you have your first, you can hover in a way that you really can't with number 2.
Yes.
And so we had gone to a hotel that shall remain nameless for our purposes here today, but it was a nightmare. And my 2-year-old got in there, and I was playing hockey goalie, trying to keep her out of the sockets, and I was like, never again. I went down to the front desk, and I said, just an outlet cover would be fantastic.
Yes.
They had nothing. They're like, you can go to the Walmart. It was 11 o'clock at night. It was 30 minutes away. I was like, okay, that's not helping me tonight. So we moved some furniture, got through the night, and I started thinking, the next time I travel, I'm going to put a Ziploc bag full of my childproofing materials.
Yes.
So I was doing that, and my husband was the genius that came in from work one day and said, I have an idea about selling your little bag of tricks. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yes.
So he's like, the bag of childproofing stuff. And I remember kind of being like, why? I'm sure someone else has already done that.
It's too good of an idea, right?
Right. Like, we're not this creative, right? Like, somebody else has already done this. So we began researching, going on the internet, trying to find an all-in-one temporary childproofing kit. So what we found were some things, but they weren't temporary.
Yes.
And some things that give you like 700 outlet covers and one like doorknob cover. That doesn't help anything.
No.
So what we did is we took the average hotel room.
Yes.
And we got the pieces that you would need to cover that room. So that you could have a pinch guard on the bathroom door if it didn't lock. You could put a lock on the toilet seat. You can close a cabinet. You can keep a closet door from sliding. In addition to basic childproofing, we put in Band-Aids, a forehead thermometer, a water temperature.
So amazing. Can we?
Yes, it's right behind me.
Let's grab this. Take a look at this. Here, let's show it. This is the
This
kit.
is our other
Genius!
baby.
Everybody say genius! Genius! Okay, this is the actual product right here, and you can see how nice and small it is, which is great for traveling. And
what you can do is if you grab the kit, you can take. It's very green packaging. We didn't tie everything in. You just take this little bag and throw it in your suitcase.
Wow.
You can take it. I think this is a great product for my mother-in-law's house.
Yes.
This is personally where I tend to take it the most.
Yes.
I leave it in the back of my car. You never know where you're going to be, where you wish you had something. You don't always use everything.
Yes.
And maybe there'll be a piece. You always have to realize there might be a room where there's a piece missing, or it's not like you don't have the perfect thing. Think about things like moving the furniture in your room, calling down like those swirly chairs. The desk chairs are the worst.
Things you don't even think of. I mean, children will get into everything, and then you can't really plan to bring every piece with you, which is what you've done here, is created something that you kind of go to look for it, and it's there.
Yeah, the innovation is with 3M. We've worked with them to do use their temporary adhesive. Yay!
Yeah.
We use their
Love the
temporary
packaging,
adhesive so that you can reuse these pieces. You can put them on the furniture in the hotel, and you take them off, and they're not going to rip off the veneers off of any of the hotel furniture.
Yeah,
so
you don't want to be charged for destroying them.
No. So, no, certainly not. The
Uh-huh.
other thing we do is we put a little note card inside so that you can give it to the front desk, and they know that you've installed temporary childproofing materials, and you'll take it off when you leave. This
so
alerts
great.
the hotel staff not to take this stuff off.
Oh, it's so great. It's so great.
sweet.
That's it for tonight, guys. We went a little over. We had tons of information for you. I hope you enjoyed the show. Did everybody learn something tonight? Did everybody learn what to do? Now you're all ready to go out and have a wonderful summer, a safe summer, a happy summer, and enjoy your babies
All you
as
need is a little
always.
sunshine.
Oh, we needed some sunshine. It's coming. I know it's coming.
Coming?
We'll be complaining soon that we're all too hot. But spend your week really loving those babies. Love on yourself. Good night for now. Mwah.